Now we're going to fix this bullet problem. Our bullets are too big and they face the wrong direction. We're going to start by creating a new prefab. Instead of using this visual model, the bullet blue, we're going to create a player blaster shot. I'm going to do that by dragging my bullet blue out so that I've got a nice visual representation. It's at 0, 0, 0. Let's move it down so that I can see it a little bit. And then I'm going to give it an empty parent. I'll right click and choose create empty parent. I'm going to name this robot, or let's call it player blaster shot. I want it to be very obvious that this is the player's attack. Now I want to change a couple things on it. Well, let's see. What do I want to change? First, the scale. This is way too big. I'll set this down to maybe a 0.25 and a 0.25 instead of a 0.5. And if I move the parent shot, make sure that the child shot's at 0, 0, 0 relative. But if I move the parent shot right about here, I can see that, yeah, that looks pretty good. I can see that as a good position and a good size and scale there. I do need to change a couple more things though. First, I think I want to set that order for my sprite layers. Let's go to the sprite, expand out some more, and expand all the way down to this number 1. Find the sprite renderer, and let's change the sorting layer to be on the player layer for now. I think I'll bring the order and layer forward so that it's at like a 10, and then it'll always be in front of my player. My player values should all be 0 right now, so 10 should be nice and far in front. I'm going to go find my player blaster shot root object here, and then drag it in to become a prefab. Now that it's a prefab, I'll assign it to the player's blaster. So I'll take the player here, find that blaster shot prefab, and then very importantly, want to make sure that I get the one from the project view. Let's see, where is it? Player, did I rename it? No, did I name it wrong? Ah, there it is. I'm just blind. So I'll go find it, grab my player blaster shot, and drag it onto the player's blaster shot prefab section right there. So it should say player blaster shot. And when I click it, it should select the one down here. If it selects the one up here, you've made a big mistake. And if you delete this one and your player blaster shot now shows as invalid, well, then you still need to go fix it. So make sure that the correct blaster shot is showing up. I'm going to save, press play, and make sure that we get a blaster shot that looks about the right size and scale and the right direction near the right place. I don't expect the position to be exact, but I do expect it to look about right, somewhat close. Near the center of my body though, instead of at the weapon point. Let's see what happens when I play. All right, we click, and yep, I get a bullet right near the center of my body. Now, if I'm facing the other direction, the bullet doesn't change, but it is showing pretty close to where I want it to be. Now, I want to change the spawn position of this bullet so it spawns right where my weapon is. To do that, we're going to stop playing, expand out, or maybe just click. If I just click over here on my weapon, I should be able to find the gun. And I want to spawn it not necessarily right at the rect or the transform position of this. I want it to be right out here at the end of my weapon. So I'm going to add a new transform child to this object. I'll right click and hit create empty. I'm going to call this fire point, capital F and a capital P, and then I'll drag it over so that it's right on top of the weapon. Next, I'm going to go to my player and go to that blaster script. We're going to create a field for that fire point that we can assign on our blaster. So we'll add a serialized field, and this will be of type transform, and I'll call this underscore fire point. Then we'll use that fire point when we instantiate. Instead of using our transform position, we'll use the fire point.position. Let's save that. I'm not going to change the rotation at all. Now we'll go back into Unity, and we need to go to our player and assign that fire point to our new fire point field. We'll drag that on, save our scene, press play, and we should expect to see that our shots now appear at the fire point. There we go, we spawn, and look at that, the shots are appearing at the right place. If I go this direction, they're still appearing at the right spot. Notice that they do go up and down as my weapon moves though, so if I happen to click when my weapon's up high, that position is up nice and high and it's firing up there. Now before we start writing code for the blaster shot, let's check in our initial prefab. So say initial blaster shot prefab with fire point working.